You're watching live in the DTV. We are joined today by Ms. Dawn Slade, who graduated from Howard University with a Master in Business Administration. She's a publicist who has been the president of public relations firm for more than 25 years. Ms. Slade is a certified community health advisor trained by the Yale Griffin Prevention Research Center, PRC. She's a certified personal fitness trainer, the host of the cooking show, Cooking with Dawn, the host of the wellness television talk show, Going Nuts About Health, and a health and fitness advocate. She has conducted numerous health, fitness, and wellness workshops and has created a childhood obesity board game to promote healthy eating and fitness for youth and adults. Ms. Slade served as the executive director of Nuts About Health, NAH, and is a New Haven, Connecticut-based nonprofit health education organization on a mission to slay the obesity monster to prevent it from developing and devouring the next generation. Through its programs and workshops, the NAH educates and inspires people, particularly youth, to commit to health and wellness by practicing healthy lifestyle habits. Her characters, Priscilla Peanut, Walter Walnut, and Andrew Almond, teach participants that in order to halt obesity, decrease chronic disease, and improve health outcomes, they have to move their bodies and change the way they eat. As Andrew Almond says, to change what you eat, you have to change your taste buds. And to change your taste buds, you have to educate your taste buds. And Miss Dawn Slade, who is the creator of these characters and obviously has quite the resume, is here joining us right now on live in DTV. How are you doing, Ms. Dawn?
Hi, thank you for having me on your show.
Thank you so much for joining us. So how did you get into this whole health and wellness thing, health, wellness, and fitness?
Well, my mother and I created Nuts About Health in 2005. Both my mother and I suffered from childhood obesity, and my mom, who is now passed, when she retired as the early education coordinator for New Haven Child Development, she decided to create Nuts About Health because she became very concerned about the child epidemic. And so she created Nuts About Health, and we were just a mother-daughter team on a mission to the obesity monster, because we both suffered from obesity as children. And so we knew what impact it had on kids, but the childhood obesity epidemic was just getting out of control.
Right.
So that's how come we created Nuts About Health. And that's how I got involved in this area.
That's amazing. That's an amazing journey, especially you. And I'm glad you and your mother were able to create it together. It's always nice to see family businesses and family ideas coming together. What does educate your taste buds mean? That kind of last sentence we read there.
So Andrew Almond, he's one of the characters in our logo. We have three. I call them the Nut Trio: Priscilla Peanut, Walter Walnut, and Andrew Almond. Andrew Almond is really the real health. He has a backpack on, and he's always constantly staying abreast of all the health information. And so basically what he's saying is that in order to change what we eat, we have to change our taste buds. And in order to change our taste buds, we have to educate our taste buds. For example, someone will say to you, I don't like avocado, but they never tried it. They never tried avocado. Then they never read about health benefits of avocado. So you have to educate yourself so that you recognize that food is supposed to provide you with nutrition, and not just some things that you're eating that your body can't use. So you have to educate your taste buds. And that's why we provide workshops to help people and empower them to change their taste. Food is what we eat, and we have to make sure that we give our body what our body needs. Our body needs vitamins, nutrients, trace minerals, and we got to make sure that whatever we put in our mouth represents those things. If not, we're going to have all the problems that we have, including obesity and all kinds of sickness and disease, only because we're not putting the right foods in our body.
Absolutely, I agree. Got to put the right food in our body, got to give it the right information to process and break down and give us energy and nutrition. I want to kind of something we talked about again in your bio. You said you have an obesity board game. Can you share with us more insight on that?
Yes, it's called Me and Belindalis, and I created the game along with a friend of mine's many years ago, and I use it as a tool, a teaching tool when I go to do workshops, because I do workshops for youth, adults, and seniors, and I use Me and Belinda Gillis as a way to engage people healthy eating and exercise. So it's a board game where when we come together, you roll the dice, and you either land on an E for exercise or an F for food. And then you have a scenario. And based on your behavior, you either go towards good health or you go away from good health.
And I'm assuming you don't want to go away from good health in the board game, because that'll help you lose.
Right. So you really want it. The goal is to get into the good health, to win with the good health. So you'll have a scenario like, for example, your friend wants to play basketball with you today, but you decide you want to go in the house and play video games instead. So that type of behavior is going to take you where? It's not going to take you towards good health. It's going to take you back. So you will be 2 steps backwards.
Absolutely. Like it. I like that a lot. That's wonderful. Yes, that sounds like wonderful. Where can we purchase the game or review it?
Well, it's really just used right now as a teaching tool. I use it in my workshops. I use it in my workshops. At one point, I'm going to try to get it to become a video game, because children love video games.
Yeah, they do.
And that's one of the reasons they love video games. Right. And so, and that, Me and Belinda Gillis is kind of like, it helped me to develop the idea. I got an epiphany like 3 years ago to do a children's movie on healthy eating called Nutsville the movie.
Yeah, to
try to teach. Yeah, and try to teach kids about eating healthy through an animated adventure, because any children, they know that when a child looks at a movie and it's their favorite movie, what do? They watch it
over and over and over again.
Exactly. So my idea or my epiphany was, because Nuts About Health, I'm in New Haven, Connecticut, and my reach is limited. It's kind of local and limited in terms of I do workshops, but there's no follow through, no follow up. I standalone workshops when I'm doing it. The kids really, but there's really not that reinforcement that we need in order to change our behavior. So the movie really designed to get children to really sing songs about healthy eating, the characters, and it's a way to reinforce good healthy eating habits, so that when they get older, they already know what good habits are. They don't have to be taught something different, because they already know.
Right. And you speak about your movie Nuts About Health. First off, Brooke, again, you're a woman of doing a lot, many talents. It seems like, are you writing, producing, and directing this movie yourself?
So the movie is called Nutsville the movie.
Oh, Nutsville the movie. Okay.
Right, Nutsville the movie. Right. So I have a team. My team is working on. Right now we're almost at the end of the pre-production phase. The script is done. All the pre-production and stuff. So we're in the process of looking for right now to hire animators to animate the movie.
Absolutely. Wonderful. Wonderful.
I'm sorry, go ahead.
Go ahead. No, proceed.
The story is it follows the young 3 friends, and they're on a journey to optimum health and self-discovery. And during the process on the way, they have to fight the obesity monster and bad health eating agents like Mr. Fry and Little Chip.
Okay. And I don't want you to give too much away, so you just kind of gave us a teaser about what the movie's about there, and we're going to leave it there. You mentioned to me as we talked before that you wanted to talk about the food and social and food injustice and environmental injustice. And how does that tie in with other things you're doing with the movie and the board games and the information for children?
Because, food injustice and environmental injustice, they're closely linked,
Mhm.
and it's all connected to the um, the unfairness or the disparities that our community has faced, over the years, in terms of not having access to healthy food, and our communities always being the one that have waste or um, poisonous things in our community that affect our health. And
Yes.
so the food injustice is really it. It has to be changed. We are not going to get healthy if we don't understand that we have a right to healthy food, and we have a right to be to control our food in our environments. And
Absolutely.
we find, I live in New Haven, Connecticut, which is the tale of two cities, and most urban areas are the tale of two cities. You have the healthy, the unhealthy, you have the wealthy, you have the unwealthy. And so we have to take control and take things into our own hands so that we can make sure that things that we need to be healthy, and we have a right to have food and to have good environments.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And how can we start some of those rights? Maybe community gardens. What are some ideas that, if you want to, if, without giving again too much information on things you're probably working on, things that people can do right now? Again, community gardens, shopping organically, that we can do to just ensure that we're getting the best nutrition possible, even with sometimes limited budgets.
Right. So the limited budget is an issue, and that's why I'm collaborating with a young man. His organization is called Nape Soul, and he is a person I call a garden whisperer because he grows his own food
Mm,
in his yard. So we collaborate, and he does the garden. I do the nutrition education piece, and really what we're trying to do is to make sure that people have access to fresh fruits and vegetables and herbs by garden backyard gardening. And if you don't have a backyard, that you can garden in your house in pots,
mhm.
so that you can have control over the food that you eat. Because if you do go to the store, um, to get organic is cost prohibitive in the short term. Long term is not. So the best way to really be able to afford it is to grow your own, because when we have stores like Whole Foods,
Mhm.
which I love Whole Foods, but Whole Foods is not in the urban areas. And the Whole Foods, and my cousin calls it whole paycheck.
Right. Absolutely.
So so what we have to do is, and one of the benefits of gardening is gardening allows you to start to make your health a priority,
Mhm.
because even before you put the first seed in the ground, you have made a decision that you're going to do something for your health. And so that is one of the, I really encourage people to do that. I mean, that's what we did. We gardened before we urban areas, we gardened. And now there's a whole movement called urban agriculture. Well, Black people created that. People, they put labels on things, and then next thing you know, they have all these movements.
Mhm.
But if we go back to our grandmothers and our great grandmothers, when they came from the South, everybody had a garden in their backyard.
Absolutely. And that ties into something else we said we wanted to cover. You wanted to cover it absolutely on this show. Importance of family dinner. So you've grown maybe you have a garden in your backyard. Now you've grown that. Now sitting down there and not just giving the child mac and cheese because that's all they eat. Because that's sometimes what we hear. But letting them, really sitting there with them and eating something that they grew or we grew together in the garden. Talk about the importance of.
Yes,
Mhm.
it's important. Family dinners is something that we as a community have gotten away from.
Mhm.
We have to get back to it, because the importance of family dinner is not only does family dinner you connect with your family, but it also, your children connect with each other. It teaches you table manners. It also teaches you that everybody has a voice when you're having conversation around the table.
When my nephew, when he was younger, we would have family dinner, and he would like, nobody can say anything until that person that's speaking has finished. So it causes you to have those behaviors that respect each other. You have table manners, and there's documented research that shows that family dinners, improve. Kids that have family dinners on a basis, they do better in school. They're less likely to get involved in at-risk behavior like drugs or alcohol or teen pregnancy. And there's also evidence that the conversation around the table is more effective than in building vocabulary than reading to your kids.
Wow, that makes sense because you have 2-3 generations of the vocabulary. You have the parents, sometimes the grandparents sitting there all talking to the children whose minds are just working like that. So I definitely understand versus buying them a book that they're probably just reading at their grade level that's written for, with the limit of vocabulary.
Right. So it's important to get back. And if you can't, we know that as your children get older, it's hard to bring everybody to the table at time, but people should at least have one day, one Sunday dinner, one day to get together as a family and to connect and to have that family meal. And if you can't do dinner, then maybe you could do breakfast, but it's important to get from in front of the television, put your phone down, to get out of your room and come to the table. And also studies show that kids that have regular family dinner time, they have a higher consumption of fresh fruits and vegetables, and they have a lower risk of being obese.
Amazing. Wonderful studies. And again, not rushing you off, but I know we wanted to cover a lot and you obviously are doing a lot. One last thing we definitely want to talk about, and we talked about it, but in case you wanted to give more detail, more information, is there anything you want to share with us on childhood obesity, things we can do to prevent it just at home, and anything else you'd like to share?
Yeah, childhood obesity is a really a health crisis right now in our community. It's been said that children today may be the first generation to not outlive their parents due to childhood obesity. So it's nothing to play around with. We have to eradicate it. And the way that we do that is we have to move the standard American diet, And what I teach in my workshops is that in order to obesity and to decrease chronic disease that we have a high propensity to have, high blood pressure, diabetes, heart disease, and to improve our health outcomes, we have to move the standard American diet. We have to go back to cooking at home. We have to go back to, not having, your meal come from McDonald's, the fast food joint, because that food is empty calories. It has no nutrition. There's a thing that says eat more foods that are plant-based, foods that are made in a plant. And the reason why such a high rate right now is because people don't cook anymore. And people are the best they can. They got 2 or 3 jobs. They're trying to do the best they can to put something on the table for their family. If we don't start giving our kids fresh fruits and vegetables and making sure that our kids get that omega fatty acid for their brains, we are doing them We're doing them a disservice. So we have to get to the table. We have to get back to cooking. Cook as a family. Children love to cook. If you start them on, they love to cook, and then they'll be part of. You do it as a family. Do it together.
Absolutely.
That's really one of the best ways that you can try to deal with this childhood obesity, because if then we're going to be held accountable for what we're doing with our children.
Absolutely. Yes, ma'am. I agree with you 100%. We need to give them proper information, the proper food, teach them how to cook. I actually learned how to cook at around age 12, and I still, to this day, enjoy going in the kitchen and creating my own meals and food. And I'm even actually coming out with another piece of literature kind of based on that topic. I won't share too much just yet because it's not ready, but I'll definitely reach out to you when it goes on, and maybe we can collaborate some more and talk some more on those things.
Okay.
Yes.
Yeah, we have to be proactive when we have to create the change that we want. And what we want is we want our children to be healthy, to start making sure that our kids are eating. And we just can't to these fast food restaurants because in our community, I live in New Haven. There's one main avenue, and but fast food from McDonald's to fried chicken to Subway to all of that. Call a food desert. It's a food desert, and don't have time. It's the convenience of it, but when you really are not doing your body any good by constantly eating that stuff. And it's okay to have it once in a while, but we can't eat it every day. You can't give it to your kids, and
Right.
the kids are having issues. They're having adult disease at, as young as 10 and 12 years old. Excuse me. And it's because of the food.
Yes.
And so when I do my workshops, I tell the kids, body is a miracle. It's a magnificent machine. And you have to do the things.
Yes, ma'am. Thank you. No, absolutely. Because that's one thing we definitely talk about, not just healthy food, healthy living, but staying hydrated. It's been a long day, I'm sure. So you need to stop and get some water by all means.
And I'm really excited about Nutsville, the movie, because I really believe it's going to be a groundbreaking movie because there's all kinds of stuff out there, but nobody's really teaching our children anything in these animated movies. And my goal is to have this catchy music, these provocative characters, and having the children sing songs about healthy eating so it can be reinforced because it's about repetition that
Right.
is going to teach you. You need repetition because if I ask you your multiplication tables right now, and you know what 4 times 4 is because it was drilled into you.
You know what else?
We can.
Go ahead.
I said, if we can drill into our children about healthy eating and they don't even know that they're learning, it'll be second nature. And they, because the food industry spends billions of dollars marketing our kids as young as 2 years old, marketing them with food that has been created in a factory is designed to be addictive. So you can't just eat one Lay's potato chip. They're telling the truth because they designed it so that it's addictive. And then they wonder why. And then people get very frustrated when they try to lose and they can't. It's because the food has been genetically engineered by the fast food and the junk food industry to make you and make our kids addicted. And so we gotta change that. We gotta stop eating that garbage.
Absolutely. Absolutely, I agree. And you know what I thought about when you were talking about not only them campaigning and marketing ads for healthy food to our children, but the multiplication facts. When I was coming up, and this was in the 90s growing up, even on sometimes when we watched our cartoons, Cartoon Network, Disney Channel, the different channels, I don't remember last time I've seen a food chart anywhere, like in a hospital, on TV, anywhere. Like when did they stop sharing the food pyramid with us? That's what it was.
Because they don't want you to listen. They don't be healthy. Think about it. If you look at television and you see the commercials on TV, what do they tell you to do? Ask your doctor about this. Ask your doctor about that. They have made Americans believe that you're supposed to be sick. And so instead of that, what if they were advertising some apple or some kale or some, but just do a survey. When you look at television, every commercial is about a drug. It's about a drug because it's not the healthcare, it's this maintenance of sickness industry. Yep. Nobody really wants, and we have to become informed consumers and recognize that this is out here, the food injustice. Oh, my goodness.
We still can see and hear you. You're fine.
Okay. You still see me? Okay. Somebody trying to call me on the phone. The food injustice, the environmental injustice, all the things that have been this country has been founded on that are not equitable. it's in our community, and we have to be more informed in order to make those changes. But we understand that, you know, food is a very basic right, and we
Right.
need to make sure that that basic right, we are getting the best that we can get for ourselves and our children. And it's
Mhm.
going to take going against the grain. It's going to take not going with what everybody's doing, you know, because they
Absolutely.
spend billions of dollars to come up with these sleek commercials, but they're brainwashing you. And if you're not an informed consumer, you are going to be victim to what is going on. And that's why obesity is so rampant in this country.
Yes, ma'am. And that's also why we need to assist with Mrs. Slade's movie, Nutsville. And how can we assist with that? Is there any, you say you need animators and editors, but is there a GoFundMe page somewhere we can help fund the movie or give more or help just spread more information?
Yes, there is a GoFundMe page. Um, and you just put Nutsville movie. Yes, you can spread the word about it. And yeah, just, you know, talk about it. Talk about why it's important, why we have, you know, give our children some entertainment that is going to teach them something that's going to be good for their lives.
Yes, ma'am. Absolutely. That's why we have this channel. We call it our edutainment channel, Live in DTV. And we thank you so much for joining us, Mrs. Slade, Miss Slade. Is there anything else you would like to share with us? We'd be happy to hear it. We're not rushing you off, but we are coming up on like our 40-minute mark and we don't want to hold you for too long.
Oh, only thing I would say, my takeaway is, in order to halt obesity and decrease chronic disease and to slay the obesity monster in our children, we eat. We got to get away from the standard American diet. We got to get more fruits and vegetables in our diet, and we need to, you know, garden.
Yes, yes, ma'am. Absolutely, I agree, and we look forward to hearing more about Nuts About Health. I mean, Nuts About Health and Nutsville, the movie, and many other things you're doing. Feel free to reach out to us at any time if you want to talk some more. And again, we just want to see great things, and we hope to hear from you soon.
Thank you so much for having me. Thank you for taking to speak with me this afternoon.
Thank you. Thank you for joining us.
Okay, enjoy the rest of your evening.
You too. Goodbye.
Okay.